With good sunshine this afternoon, highs of 25 to 29 degrees. Now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back to Off the Ball. It's Johnny Ward here with Jeff Lynskey, and we've 2 minutes left. It's a 4-point game. Limerick winning by 4 at the moment, Jeff, and it looks barring a miracle that they're going to win Sam. Well, think of the next Sunday. Win Liam for the third year in a row.
Yeah, the Kyle now back sweeping. If they can win this ball now and get another score, and then they just need one breaking ball or a ball to break for them. But like, in fairness to Limerick, they're half hour line.
A famed half forward line.
Like, you know, the scores that they got there. Kyle Hayes, you know,
if Kilkenny get a point here, which they should, gets it. So that's one of the subs.
They're going to have to push someone up on Hayes to occupy Hayes. They'll have to gamble now.
You're talking one or two more chance, maybe 3-point game, which again, the bookmakers are looking at this with their kind of with great delight, because I think it was a 3-point game in the handicap. Here we go. Kilkenny have won the ball back.
Benchfield. He's going for the score.
Is he going for the score?
Jesus. He's got us back to
that is an interesting one, because you just wonder, is it a good call to go, because they essentially do need a goal, do they not? Are they going to get 2 more points? We've got a minute left in injury time.
They've got a minute. It's enough time to get 2 scores. They're going to get 1 chance here. It all depends on this puck out now. They need to win the puck out.
Kilkenny have
kill the ball here now.
So we're nearly at the end of injury time. Half minute left. There's going to be a bit of a melee below in near the hill here, 16, and this ball is going to be thrown in, which will bring us pretty much over the I've been told by the producers as well to turn the commentary off. We've got totally engrossed in this. Sometimes when we come back from the news, I've actually forgotten, because this is a game. It's very hard to take your eye off, Jeff.
Look, it's been an enthralling game. You know, the second half has been really, really good. And in fairness to Kilkenny, this is not over yet.
I think that ball is gone.
Sideline Limerick.
Memories of Joe Canning taking that sideline puck in 2017, because it probably was the decisive. This would be a 2-point game. It's 131, Jeff, to 226. Limerick have a sideline puck here.
And it'll go shorter down the line, because he won't. He's going to kill the play here now. Look, John Kiley
telling them to keep their heads.
Yeah, down the line, another sideline. You know, really good game management, Johnny. Did the same against Galway.
I think is that a Kilkenny ball they're giving it? Yeah,
giving it. Liam Gordon there from Clymer. Good goal, man.
He's on the line, is he?
He's on the linesman there, yeah.
Here we go. This could well be it. If you are a Limerick fan and you're listening in, you are
all over.
The All-Ireland Hurling champions for 2022. John Kiley celebrating with the team, and it was one of them games where they practically led from gate to wire. They always seem to have them somewhat at arm's length. Tommy Walsh, it's all over.
131 to Limerick, 226 to Kilkenny. What a game. What a performance by the champions. Hegarty stepped up, Tom Morrissey stepped up, Dermot Burns they defended as a whole as opposed to as individuals. They thoroughly were tested today by the Kilkenny team with skill, heart. They had everything, the stubbornness of Kilkenny teams down through the years. So this is a one they will cherish. They bet the team that beat them in 2019. You know, potentially they could have been going for a 4 in a row today. But listen, they're the first team outside of the top 3 of Kilkenny, Cork and Tipperary to win the 3 in a row. There's a raft of them going home with 4 All-Ireland medals in their back pocket. No one from Limerick has that before. But what a win, really, for the champions. They were tested in every way. And in the last couple of minutes, when the questions, I suppose, were asked of them in the white heat of battle, when the pressure was at their utmost, they came out, and Hegarty scored another great point near the end. They kept the ball down here with tackling down at the Nally end on the music stand. They definitely wasted a minute or that there by just sheer work ethic, and thoroughly deserving champions, and they will be delighted with their lot today. And Kiley and Kinnerk were hugging, and a third part of their management team there now. Some more Limerick guys got on with t-shirts, probably part of the extended panel running onto the field. So listen, thoroughly deserved champions. They scored 31 points in an All-Ireland final. amazing, really.
You'd be proud of Kilkenny, though, Tommy, like in terms of the performance levels.
You would, Jeff. They were outstanding in every way. They stayed with it right in the end. And I know David Blanchfield that time, he came up, there was about a minute and 20 seconds left when he went for the point. But still, you know yourself, defending a 3-point lead is much different than defending a 2-point lead. You're defending a 2-point lead, nerves step in, pressure is on. They brought Kyle Hayes back kind of hovering around like he did in the semi-final just to maybe catch some high balls or that if they did come in. But he went for the point, but unfortunately we didn't win the next puck out. We wasted too much time down in the other end of the field, and time got away from us at the very end, really.
Their half-hour line again, Tommy, you referenced it there regarding the three pillars. McQueen is out, the fourth one. They were immense in the second half.
They were immense, absolutely. And I was questioning Tom Morrissey coming off, but again the bench stepped up. I know young Reedy scored that point, but that was waved wide by Hawkeye. But Cathal O'Neill and Boylan then stepped up with 2 points, late in the game. And like when you win a game by 2 points, your subs score 2 points, well, that answers that, doesn't it?
Yeah, look, but like I thought second half, the 2 goals you got gave you great impetus. Like the subs all made an impact.
They did, and they were well worth that, because I know Johnny was saying that Mossy missed the ball as it was passed across from Walter Welch, but you don't. If you're clever and you're hurling, you're close to a lad, you're shielding the ball, yeah. Johnny.
Yeah.
So he might have made it look like probably he missed it. Now that's looking from here. I didn't see.
No. I'm getting an education here now, in fairness.
Yeah, and that's what my guess would be. And I went across through to Billy, who was on his own, and Billy absolutely buried it. Didn't try and roof it. Didn't try and top corner it. Didn't try and get one of the goals of the century. Kept it low. Very hard to save one from that far out. Probably would have been hard to save it anyway. And the other goal then was a sensational goal by Mossy again. Ball was popped by Teague. As I said, through the movement, he kind of got himself free underneath the Hogan stand. By the time the ball came top of him, there was a Limerick lad on him alright, but he had that advantage. You can't give Teague a second like that. He cautioned, was tackled, got down, got up, had a wherewithal to pass it across. Owen Cody got in a lovely little dive and flick back to Mossy, whose first touch was top notch. And again, he buried it into the corner as well, because Nicky Quaid, as we know, has made some top class saves in the past.
Yeah,
I see Kyle Hayes going over to the Sky Sports studio, the cameras for the interview. Possibly would he be getting the man of the match off them, maybe?
I'd say so. Yeah. What would you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I think so, in terms of the points in general play. Like himself and Gareth Hegarty were very good, defence wise again. Like to me, lads, Jeremy Burns is hurler of the year, like as a wing back, and he's free taking. His defensive side of it, his aerial ability, he's brought the game to a complete new level. The Limerick lads are emotional there, Tommy, as you would be when All-Ireland. John Kiley is fairly moved there now. They're under pressure.
They were, and you see, I suppose Kilkenny is such a powerful force in hurling from when hurling began. It does mean more. It's like beating your rivals or your neighbours. It means so much. Well, when you're one of the part of the rising pack as such, like Limerick, while they started brilliant in the 30s and that, and had their All-Ireland in 1973, then they were out of sorts really for the next 30 or 40 years until the mid-90s team, and with a good team just didn't have the luck to get over the line. And now this great team, and it could have all been so different. They were 6 points down against Cork in the semi-final in 2018. They came back. You probably hear the chorus of cheers here in Croke Park behind me. That's John Kiley going over to see, would it be his daughter, but lifting a little girl anyway out into the 2 little girls out onto the hallowed turf and meeting the fans. I see Declan Hannon is getting a slip. He's with Keane Lynch, I'd say, is going to lift the McCarthy Cup win, and that's a lovely gesture, because we must remember Keane Lynch on this day.
Yeah, just looking at him there, Tommy, it's kind of hard to know what are your feelings at this moment?
For Keane Lynch?
Yeah.
We're just so proud of the lads. You see, he's been here and been the hero on so many days. When you've been there, you would have little envy, or he has been there and done that. So I'd say he's just so proud to see the other lads. Today, some of the subs that came on scoring great points. Young Boylan came on, Cathal O'Neill. Some lads in that Limerick team possibly getting their first All-Ireland medal, and some of them getting their first on the the field of play. But yeah, this is probably sad for him too. But listen, isn't that a lovely gesture that Declan Hannon is bringing him up? He's on crutches, he's in a boot, and two-time hurler of the year. And what a fantastic role model Keane Lynch is to the people of Limerick. I see Graham Mulcahy going down there, I see Nicky Quaid lifting his young child out onto the field. You mentioned the children coming onto the field in the football for Kerry and Dublin. Well, we see it here today again, the sub-goalie bringing his child onto the field as well. Just fabulous memories and fabulous moments. See, Gerard Hegarty was going over to do an interview a couple of minutes ago. What a game he has had. A year where I suppose he wasn't at his total best, but he seems to save his best for the big day. He is a big personality, and he does usually turn up, and that's no kind of slight against anyone that had to pick him up today, because when a lad of his size, 6'5".
Well, this is it. And Jeff was saying the same. Like, I think, Tommy, you're feeling now as Kenny man exactly almost what Galway people felt after semi-final. Hurled unbelievably well, but it's very, very hard to deal with that physicality in that half-forward line.
It is, and elegance and skill and touches, and like the goal he got, like that was straight into the ring that goes around the top corner. Yeah. Like, I'd imagine that's where it went, because like Cormac Costello in the football against Kerry there last weekend, when you play against the top goalies, there's only certain places you can put them where you're sure to hit the back of the net, and that was one of them when you're taking on Owen Murphy. And by God, and that's not the first time he scored in many All-Ireland finals and Munster finals. He just has that beautiful, elegant touch, and when you win a game by 2 points as well, like he scored a point in the 70th minute where he got the ball out, was tackled hard by a Kilkenny defender, I'm sure it was a David Blanchfield, and really put it up to him, and he shrugged him off at the very end, but glided the ball over the bar on the run with his right hand. He could score right or left from about 70-75 yards out.
Their conditioning, Tommy, obviously it's a huge part of what they do, but in terms of their skill level, like, we can talk tactics all day, but for big men, their skill level is as good as I've seen anyhow, even in your time.
Yeah, their skill levels here, and you backed up with their size. Like, when we were here, they're lifting up Larry is giving the cup here now to Declan Hannon. They're shaking hands. Keane Lynch is beside him. Yes, the two of them lift up together. And there's the fireworks.
As a Limerick person, Tommy, whether you're a supporter or whether you're a player, whether you're a father, whether you're John Kiley, who we're seeing, this is just a special moment in your life.
It's a special moment, and like, you have to look at all the different backstories as well. Like, Peter Casey came on 12 months out with cruciate knee ligament injury. His brother suffered the same feat. He was watching his fellow players going up, lifting the McCarthy Cup and picking up their All-Ireland medals on the field of play. He's out there today. Peter came on. Some of the subs that came on. This is huge for them. And as well as it's huge for them to do the 3 in a row. There's no point in saying otherwise. It's absolutely massive. I think Brian Cody said it before when Kilkenny did it in 2008. Madness, really, in this day and age.
And Jeff, they're just a likeable team, actually. They're likeable lads. They carry themselves with good grace as well, for all their physicality and strength.
They do, when Keane came up to us at Christmas time, very grounded, humble guy, enjoys the crack. Non-drinker, but enjoys the crack. He's one of the lads and enjoys the nightlife in Galway. But I'd say it comes from the management team, probably like Tommy's time with Cody. You're grounded, you're humble, and if anyone steps out of line or gets above their station, they're quickly nailed. Because at the end of the day, look, they've won the last 3. They could have won 5 in a row. Kilkenny took them that day.
Well, where are they then, actually, Tommy, in terms of the great hurling teams?
Sure, listen, you can't judge them, Johnny, yet, as regards where do they lie, but where are they going?
They're 4 out of 5, it could be 5 out of 5.
Well, it could be, you can't go with could be. Some teams could have won 10 in a row. If Seamus Darby hadn't scored that goal,
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
I just think that in relation to their coaching and management, they're ahead of the curve. A lot of counties, and it's up to.
But it's like the old Kilkenny. You had to reach the Kilkenny level. Now the likes of Kilkenny have to reach Limerick's level. I'm better than Tommy.
Absolutely, and like the amazing thing probably for this group of players is the consistency of how many of them are starting all the time. Like there's 13 of these guys that started today, started the All-Ireland final in 2018, which was 5 years ago, which is amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, usually if you go on a long run like that, you're introducing new players, like say Alex Ferguson would have done, like Bill Belichick, like any of the long running teams. They can introduce new players, but this team seems to introduce them off the bench as opposed to starters. Now I suppose they have had a few different runs of injury, so that might miss out this year, so he's motivated the following year. But to keep it going, like say these guys have 4 All-Ireland medals. We say the Kilkenny team or the Kerry team or the Dublin team, they had 8 or 9 All-Ireland medals and 10. So for them, I suppose, Johnny asked the question, where will they lie? And it's, in history, when you're judging them against the very best, probably if they want to go to 7 and 8 or 9 medals, they will probably have to see some new guys coming out with this academy. Now what they do have is they're all still very, very young, so they're not an aging team even. But the advantage they have over everyone else, if you take the gym out of it, Jeff, when we were on that Kenny team that time, Walter Welch was our biggest player, and it was kind of probably Cork as well, but Walter Welch was 6'5". Limerick have about 5 lads 6'5".
It's a conversation that I had with my own coaches over the years, even with academy stuff. Do you go for athleticism and size? I know you have the late developers, but genetically, if you want to compete with these lads, you're going to have to pick 6'1", 6'2" guys and develop their skill if it's lacking, and get them ready to take these guys on, because look, our county players wouldn't be small guys now either. But I agree with you, Tommy, in terms of they're going to be judged on what they're going to be over the next 3-4 years, and who's going to be able to compete with them.
Right, I think the other thing that he's mentioned here, Tommy, is like, and Jeffrey spoke about this, and even I think earlier on we heard Vincent Hogan talking about back in 1980, Galway won the All-Ireland for the first time in so long. Galway had to win 2 games to win All-Ireland in those days. Limerick have to come out of Munster. Like Munster is like, it's like an enigma wrapped in a vest in terms of how competitive it is. They have to keep coming out of Munster, and they just keep doing it.
They do. They keep doing it, and nearly at the rees for a lot of games. As regards the scoring cushions that they have by the end of the game. I'm not saying they're easy games, but they do win most of the matches, bar maybe when they're playing clear. They win most of the matches by when they have to win them, we'll say. Sometimes at the end, they're after doing so well in the early parts, there's no pressure on them in game 4, game 5. So listen, it's incredible. Like to do it basically every 2 weeks. It's every week during the round robin, every 2 weeks after that. It is amazing, in fairness.
Tommy, doesn't it? You know that discourse or the discussion, the debate was on about Leinster and Munster hurling and the difference in standard. I don't agree with that. I don't believe in it, to be honest with you, because you can judge it there now. What Kilkenny had done against Clare and then Limerick, and what Galway did. Did you buy into that rhetoric that was there at the time?
No, I didn't, because I knew how good the teams coming from Leinster were. Like, you had Wexford nearly put one over on Clare. You had Galway who did terrifically well all year. Bar probably the Leinster final, or probably the one match they were disappointed with. But they went on and they beat Cork, and they nearly beat Limerick. And Kilkenny, listen, it's probably part of the game, isn't it? Leinster versus Munster, and it creates stories and it creates battles and rivalries. But no, listen, we're a very proud province, and I know Galway aren't in it, but as regards the Leinster Championship, we're very proud of the Leinster Championship, and some fantastic teams in it.
Any regrets from a Kilkenny perspective today?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Was Avery Mullins wide probably at a key time, and probably the only Ricky Reid's wide, Tommy. Them 2 chances were the only 2 you could say at a key.
That's going to happen in a game.
Going to happen in a game. Like, he took everything else. Like,
yeah, they were. You never regret mistakes. If you're not making mistakes, you're probably not showing up, in the first place. So I would never worry about wides as such, as long as they're not silly wides. And they were definitely points, I suppose. There were good chances of scores, in fairness, and probably 8 times out of 10 them fellas would put them all over the bar. But when you're talking about Kilkenny, like, the score 2-26 today, it would win most games, you would imagine. I felt Kilkenny, to win the game, they would have to keep Limerick say under 25 points, 25 points or under, because I felt in the semi-final that 4 of their forwards were taken off and they scored 27 points against Galway, which I thought was a remarkable feat. What other team could do that? Today they scored 31 points, and they're just back to their very best really on the outside line. Now if you look at the inside lines, the Kilkenny matchups were terrific. You'd have to say Hugh Lawler got the better of Aaron Gillan, you know, because he got great ball in, but the big long arms of Hugh and the speed of Hugh, he was able to get the flick at the right time. I thought Mikey Butler, he did a great job, and Graham Mulcahy, and Tommy Walsh was on Flanagan, and Flanagan was taken off. So I think the Kilkenny full back line were immense today, especially with the amount of ball that was coming in. And the half-hour line then, like, I think the way it is now anyway, it's like soccer as such. It's not like an hour day where, you know, you hear people saying, did you keep your man scoreless, or how did you go on versus your marker? You can't really do that in the modern game, because you have to defend sometimes up on them, other times you have to be covering back. You have to be doing a bit of everything. So the movement is just terrific. The movement out of half hours. I'd hate to be playing that way.
Yeah, yourself now and Garrod Hegarty or Kyle Hayes would be
good matchup.
It'd be a good matchup. It'd be tough. But like, just images there, Nicky Quaid with one of his kids, and you know, Graham Mulcahy's 32. That is the mad thing, Tommy. That stat you had about the 13 players. They've only one outfield player in his 30s.
Is that it, Graham Mulcahy? And probably Nicky Quaid.
Nicky Quaid's 34.
Nicky Quaid's 33, so one outfield player in his 30s.
And one goal, yeah. And all the other lads are probably coming into their peak, if you like, really, because you come into your peak probably around 27 or 28, because you have the strength, you have the fitness, you have everything, you know.
I suppose conversely from Kilkenny's situation, where do you see TJ Reid hanging on to be 35 this time next year? Obviously Richie Hogan came on, had a bit of a cameo. Your brother is in his 30s, Owen Murphy's in his 30s. Some of them are getting that bit older.
They are, but the key thing with a Brian Cody team is, like Alex Ferguson, probably always looking a couple of years down the line. So a team will never get old together. Like if you take the Tipperary team, for example, that kind of, you know, they got old together really. They're all their main players. So they're in a bit of transition now at the moment, as in they're going to have to bring in all the young players. Towards Kilkenny, like now, the older players are, I'm not saying they're the peripheral players, but their responsibility, like Adrian Mullen, you know, another 3 points from play here today, Paddy Deegan, Owen Cody, like they're all the guys now that are stepping up. They're still young in their careers, but slowly but surely the responsibility is passing over onto their shoulders. You're asking me about TJ, and then that's, I don't know, is the honest answer, really, to be honest.
TJ still have plenty to offer next year.
Well, every day he goes out, he does, because he still set up the goal today, scored all the frees, won some great ball in the air. So listen, as long as TJ wants to go back, I would imagine there'll always be a place for TJ.
I think for Kilkenny, Tommy, like he won the under 20 this year. You know, you've enough coming there. No more than ourselves is to find the marquee players that replace. For us, it's Joe. For you, it's TJ. Is there the marquee players within your county to replace the players of them stature? Because they're the big game players. Yeah. You know, and that's the hardest part of any academy system, is trying to find these players, bring them through, and make sure they develop on to be seniors.
It is, and you probably can't directly replace players like that, because they're, you know, Joe and TJ, you know, amongst the conversations of the best ever, you know. Like how many Club All-Irelands does Joe, how many county finals, how many times did he score 2-9, 3-5, same with TJ, you know, two guys that produced it on the biggest days, on the smallest days, every day, you know, up big scores, marked, being double marked. So I wouldn't really get too carried away with replacing them. It's just finding new players, as in direct replacements. Just find new players to fit into your squad, and it'll be the same for these Limerick guys. Like when the likes of Kyle Hayes, like they're all the one age, Hayes and Hegarty and Tom Morrissey, and you know, when they get old, how will they replace them really? You know.
An enjoyable final though, Tommy. Up there with the best.
I would imagine so, yeah. I would imagine so. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I suppose any match that goes down to the last puck of the game will always be enthralling, and the fact that there was so much history at stake, there was so much glory to be got really by winning. Kilkenny, you know, knocked the champions off their perch, stop a team from doing the 3 in a row. So a lot of Kenny, probably 12 of the starting players didn't have All-Ireland medals, so to get their first All-Ireland medal for Limerick, then it's greatness really. That's what they're searching for at the moment. There's always a notch they want to, put on the belt. I see Aaron Gallan down there with the Lee McCarthy Cup, bringing it over to a couple of supporters. Although today he had some battle with Hugh Lawler, he was pivotal in getting him here today.
Oh, big time. I think this Limerick team has done so much for hurling, and I think they carry themselves so well. Kilkenny, Tommy, have brought so much to this championship this year. They absolutely beat Clare out the gate. They beat Galway more comprehensively than Limerick could beat them, and they produced performance today, in terms of changing at half time, bringing on Walter Walsh. Hugh Lawler, as you say, having a good game on Gallan. 2-point game at the end. Kilkenny can carry themselves with a lot of pride, and I suppose what I'm going to ask you is the debate about Brian Cody that maybe was there earlier on this year. It seems a little bit redundant now, because who could have done more with them this year?
Yeah, sure. Listen, I think, Johnny, to be fair, when you lose, no matter what county you are, no matter what club you are, Jeff said there, winning dictates everything really. Whether you're, even with players belief in you and that, so. He understands that. It's a pressurised game, but he never felt pressure. He knows what hurling is all about, and that's just the way it is.
Who's this, Jeff or Brian Cody? We're after changing from the hurling to the golf here, and Jeff and all the lads at the Stunning Geek have backed McElroy, and he's only level in the lead now, Jeff.
Yeah, we're under pressure now again here.
Apparently, so tell us about you did some shinty experience together, the two of you anyway.
Tommy was just gone when I came in. The Johnny Fox's pub in Inverness. The boys used to give it a good old rattle. Jackie used to, and Richie and Brendan Maher and all these lads. They were good crack in Inverness. It was kind of an enjoyable game, a tough game, but the nights out were legendary.
They were brilliant, Jeff. And the great thing about the likes of the trips to Inverness and any of them Railway Cup matches, when you win or lose and when you're playing against each other, it's like any match. You hate the other team or the player you're marking. That's kind of the way, it's sports hatred as opposed to, real stuff. But your rivals, your bitter rivals as such for those 60 or 70 minutes after the game, one he's so happy, one he's so sad. You don't really want to, spend too much time in each other's company. And it's only on trips like that you just, you find out that, listen, we're actually all the very same. Except for you with a Galway jersey, I with the Kenny jersey, you with a Limerick jersey. And what I always found about them tours is the hurling fraternity are very close. Yeah. They kind of all had the one interests. They all had the same conversations. They enjoy the crack. And it was always at a time when you weren't against each other. It was in the depths of winter when you didn't have to worry about we're playing him in a couple of weeks or you had played him a couple of weeks ago. You can just enjoy each other's companies for what it is, and you're actually the one team on them Inverness trips, and we enjoyed it immensely. And as it went on, then they changed. You could only bring 3 or 4 Lee McCarthy Cup players, and the rest of them are all Joe McDonough, Laurie Marr and Christy Ring. And it was brilliant that we could, I suppose, really understand and feel their love of the game, because it's easy for us to say it's great to people down in, say, North Kerry or up and down and on the Arts Peninsula or on the Glens of Antrim are great for keeping the hurling going and all that, but when you go up and actually meet these guys and spend a weekend or a week in their company, you really feel it and you really understand that they're probably better than you in a lot of aspects because they have to work so hard for it. And if they want a challenge match, bar playing their rivals, they have to come down to Dublin or come to Kilkenny or Well, Tommy, the game, you bring anyone from Ireland, anyone from Ireland, Catholic or Protestant or non-denominational, whoever they are, bring them to that game today, he or she will be amazed at it. You would have to. And the great thing about it is it's not played anywhere else in the world. Yes, it's played everywhere else in the world, but by mostly Irish people. It's our game, it's our culture. And, when you play the game, Jeff, it's not really madness or tough. I wouldn't say tough, but the belts, they're only tips and taps. But when you're looking at it, say as an American or a French tourist or that, it looks like 30 lads going around with swords in their hands, fighting each other for 70 minutes.
It's controlled madness.
Well, actually, you played club hurling in Galway though, so kind of it did actually have swords.
It's different in Boston now. There was a row one that took place in Boston. The cops came out in the pit with the guns. They didn't know what was going on. We were going, this is normal, lads. It's okay. We're fine. We get on. Tom's in Galway. always worse than Kilkenny or Galway and Tip over in Boston. Like, we hate each other, but look, it's all part and parcel of it. It's a bit of fun. Once it's over, you shake hands and you get on with life again.
You had a story about his father imploring him to win a club medal for Tyrone.
Yeah, Tommy, you told a story one time that your father used to slag that you didn't have that club medal. I think it was around 2014. You got it though.
Well, there's probably an after story to that then as well. So when we did win it, it was the intermediate one. So now he says, you have a county medal, but you don't have a senior one.
So he still has you.
He don't.
What hope do you have of that?
Yeah. He deserved it because he hurled, like, say, he was dropped for a junior final in 83 that they won. And then they won the intermediate then in 88 against Pilltown, and they were black and amber, would you believe? And I was wearing a Kilkenny jersey on that as a 5-year-old on the sideline, crazy stuff. But then he had to wait till 94 to win the senior one after losing the senior to Willie O'Connor and Eddie O'Connor's Glenmore in 92. But they won the senior final, he was 36. So, like, when he does slag me about having a senior, I just say to myself, you know what? You deserved it. You deserved it.
Do you know, it's a mad thing when you think of, like, the famine that Limerick had and how hard it was. You can think of Waterford fans now there tonight who are wondering, Mayo fans in football, when is this ever going to happen for us? Now, like, Limerick nearly won 5 in a row. Like, it's mad, Jeffrey, that, like, then it can just take off.
Yeah, but it's the work that's done.
This took a long time.
It takes a decade. It takes 15 years work to put yourself in a position. And then after that, you need everybody aligned. You need your county board, county chairman, academies, managers, coaches, all aligned, sponsors, everything, the whole lot going to one.
JP McManus helps.
Yeah, well, it does, but you still have people with the right knowledge, the right skill set, visionary people to put the structures in place that when you leave the job, you're leaving in a better place. What happens in most counties is, unfortunately, politics come into it, or something along the way upsets the whole process or the plan.
Do you get what he's saying there, Tommy?
I do, because you only have to look, I suppose, across the border there with yourselves, Jeff, like at Offaly. Like, you just have to put it into the young lads. And, like, I knew Michael Duignan because I would have met him on a good few occasions, and a real hurling man, and was on the Sunday game, and, you know, you see the guy up in the Sunday game, but do you really know the guy? I knew him. I knew what was in him. I knew the stuff that was in him because I'd come across him in his club, Ballinamirra Durrow, and was putting in great work in their underage set up. So when he became chairman of Offaly, I knew there was good things coming. And there's no fluke that they won the Under-20 All-Ireland. They got to the football. They got to the minor All-Ireland. Like, he brought in, you know, big guys like Mick Finley and that. Johnny there from Port Tumlin. They brought in big names, but why? You don't have to bring them in, we'll say, to the likes of the Limericks and the Corks and these of it. But when you're bringing it into Offaly, because to create razzmatazz, to promote the game and drive it on again, he brought in John Martin and Tomas O'Shea. He brought free bus loads of kids filling out the likes of Portlaoise, filling out Nolan Park. Like, that doesn't just happen. That takes incredible dedication, and Duignan got a team, I would imagine, because one man can't do it all on his own. So I don't want to give all, it's not that he give all the praise to Michael Duignan, but for him, for probably getting a huge team together, that they worked as a team, as you have to do, to drive on the underage. And whether they go on and win seniors or not doesn't really matter. They created an unbelievable, but they're trying and they're working hard at it, and that's creating the buzz. Yeah,
how would you reflect on the year of hurling in general, actually, Tommy, so far? We're only in July. I mean, everyone is waiting for the start of the Lee Mellows Championship campaign in a couple of weeks as well. But, you know, you look at that minor final, sold out Nolan Park, 27,000 people. The story of Offaly, the heartbreak at the end, but the hope for the future. You even look at the likes of Westmeath getting a draw against Wexford, Antrim pushing Cork hard, having them level at half time. They're hoping for a better future as well. How do you rank hurling in as we go, I guess, into the second half of 2022 and into 23 with Limerick as the dominant force?
Yeah, well, I would have to say it's not perfect.
Yeah.
But how do you get perfect? You can't. But what I would say is, what they're trying to do is perfect. So they're trying to look after it. Like, everyone talks about Croke Park, it's like they're the big baddies of the world. They're doing everything they can. They did the split season to look after the clubs. You know, and people say it worked and it didn't work, but they're trying to make it work, is the main thing. It's not perfect yet, but they're pushing in the right direction. The Liam McCarthy Cup, you have the Joe McDonagh Cup, you have the Lowry Marr, the Christie Ring, everyone in their own divisions with a chance of winning it. And then the great thing about it, you can say what you like about the McDonagh Cup and it should be on maybe before the senior final. I'd say no, because they have to play that, right, early in the summer. If you win that, you get to take your place in the preliminary quarter final.
Yeah.
And I don't care what people say about that. That is promoting hurling. And you have to look after the people that are trying to grow the game. And for those teams, Antrim and Kerry, they're working savagely hard down in their places to develop hurling. So they earned it. They didn't get a free pass to the preliminary quarter-finals. And they had to win their Joe McDonagh or get to the Joe McDonagh Cup final, and they earned their place there. And, you know, if you're good enough to do that, let them on. So I think they're trying very, very hard. I think we had a great final here. It's funny, Johnny, like the stories now is there's games on too often, right? They're week after week, or it's every 2 weeks and they deserve another break. But what was the argument before this? It was there's too much training and too few matches. So what do you want? You can't get it right.
Yes.
So I'd say to Croke Park, they're doing their best.
Yeah.
Look, for me, I agree with Tommy. Like you're not going to get a perfect system. I think what we have at present is better than what was there in the past. I've experienced both as a county underage manager and a club manager. It is hard. It is difficult as a club manager because you're missing players. We have 2 lads there that were involved. So you're trying to accommodate them and get them game time for not in the 26. You're trying to time the training and keep them fresh and motivated. And it is tough. But look, at the end of the day, in Galway, when it starts, it'll be summer hurling in August. But then once September comes and go, it's a different championship. It's winter hurling. And look, you're going from a campaign where it was an enjoyable campaign to be a Galway supporters. You have the footballers next week. But after that, then the club, and you know, people probably have a hunger now to go and watch club matches.
Absolutely, and as it should be. Last word to you, Tommy, just on your experience today and where we'll see you tonight if you're out and about.
Well, I go on holidays tomorrow camping, so.
Where are you going camping?
Going over to a campsite there in France, so.
Lovely.
Can't wait now, to be honest. And I suppose, while I love this, you know, it's great crack, the old radio and that. This is it now, it's finished now, so back to fully concentrating on hurling and underage hurling for the next couple of months, you know.
And winning a senior medal.
Well, I don't know. Well, I suppose when you say what's the last word has to go to the champions.
Yeah.
A massive congratulations to Limerick. You said it, Johnny and Jeff. They have been fabulous champions. They've been fabulous role models. They seem to be able to win the game any way you want. You prepare for them by matching them up tight. They're able to give the ball in long to the full forward line and they'll take you apart there. You get your matchups in there right, they're able to take you apart out the field. If nothing is working and you're bringing them to the pin of their collar, someone steps up. Gerloch Nan spoke about tactics all you want, but sometimes it just comes down to the individual brilliance. Today, I suppose Burns and Hegarty and Tom Morrissey stepped up at different times and won them that game. And I think their backs are immense, though. Their backs have been immense, like at all times as a unit. So listen, John Kiley, Kinnerk and all of them, I know they get all the credit. I know there's far more in that management team, so it doesn't just take 2 lads, it takes a whole raft of people and players. So I'd say congratulations to everyone, and a word of, I wouldn't say commiserations, but hard luck we'll say to Cian Lynch, and hopefully he gets a safe recovery. Peter Casey, delighted. I love seeing lads coming back from long-term injuries, so I'm delighted for Casey and his brother Mike Casey, who I'd say he lost out in 2 or 3 All-Irelands there at the start. I'd say probably 20 and 21, 2 All-Irelands he lost out with injury, so he's back and had a great year as well. So it's all about the champions here today. Also just for our own lads, well done to them. They died with their boots on. A typical Kilkenny Cody type team, and
100%. I think on behalf of everyone, Tommy, thanks for everything you have brought to the hurling championship yourself this year, and enjoy the camping.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Jeff. See you, lads.
See you, Tommy.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I want to go for pints in Inverness with you and Tommy Walsh now.
I have to get the train now, so I have to go.
6:45. You are a little bit worried about the golf, though.
Yeah, how is it now?
Yeah, Cameron Smith and Rory McIlroy are 18 under, both through 13. And Cameron Young is 2 shots off through 13. Hovland looks like he's probably lost the race, but he's 3 shots off through 13. We're not fully finished yet. We will go to an ad break now, and we'll be back with a little more chat about the hurling final, which was won by Limerick.
Off the ball on News Talk. Talking history.
Coming up this Sunday on Talking History, we'll be looking at the historical importance of artefacts, what we can learn from them, how we interpret them, and their importance to our history.
Talking History with Patrick Gagan.
That's Talking History on News Talk this Sunday at 7 p.m.
InsureMyCars.ie.
Hi, I'm Ken Doherty, and when I need car insurance, I contact the specialists at InsureMyCars.ie. Their team always finds me the best policy at the lowest price and with all the benefits I need. If your car insurance is up for renewal, visit
InsureMyCars.ie.
City Financial Marketing Group Limited, trading as InsureMyCars.ie, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
When it's time to make your move, make it with confidence in the new Volkswagen T-Roc. Feel more in control with Park Assist, LED headlights and a digital cockpit equipped as standard. Turn heads with a new sharp, sleek interior and exterior design. That's confidence all wrapped up in the new Volkswagen T-Roc. Or make your move in the agile T-Cross or the all-new Taigo SUV Coupe. Search Volkswagen SUV. Volkswagen.
Better value lives at Dunnes Stores with lots of ways to save on your favourite brands. Raise a glass with 20% off wine and champagne 750ml bottles. Stock up on soft drinks like 7-Up, Pepsi Max and Club Orange, 9 and 12 can packs